Hello and welcome back to the Nasty Metal Production channel YouTube, and welcome to another collection update. This, of course, with this collection update, since it's mostly all CDs here, basically is stuff that I've at least that has been in my piling bin since late September, and also at least 4 of the CDs here at least are finally me again, the stuff that I've at least listened to from that package I had received back in September, which was basically a bunch of CDRs actually, or releases from the guy who runs the Eternal Darkness production or creations, I think, or Eternal Darkness label. So there's at least 4 of that here. So without further ado, let's get into all of that, and that's what will be playing here in the background on my stereo. But this is these 4 here again. This is what I have listened to from the stuff he had sent me. So this, of course, again is the Pentagram, which is what's playing in the background. The Metallica one here. The San Antonio Slayer here, and of course the Exodus right there. So these are all 4, and I'm gonna go into some, at least some information on these albums, at least on these CDs here. So what these are mostly, with these albums that he was able to put together, was basically combining mostly either live recordings and some demos, and maybe some here and there, maybe B-side stuff, whatever, depending on the artist that he is, of course, at least releasing, depending on that he is at least focusing on. So, like with this one here, when it comes to at least the audience recordings, this right here is again playing the background. It's called Pentagram. 5 Bad Points on My Own. Again, this is actually through one of his sub-labels titled Obscurations in the Witch House. Again, Obscurations 3, so I guess this was probably the 3rd release. Yeah, this would have been number 3 in the the Obscurations in the Witch House discography, basically. So again, it's I wouldn't say bootleg, but it's definitely more so just unofficial stuff, but it's all made, again, geared towards diehard fans, is what some of these releases are supposed to be about. But this here, it's more of a compilation of at least of audience recording stuff, at least he has had at least in his possession over the years. Apparently this guy who runs the Eternal Darkness and this label and so on, he's been doing this since, what, 1989. So, and of course he's got his own fanzine, which I do have as well. But he's been obviously stuff he has at least been compiling since the 1980s, basically. So within the underground, that has been circulating, and him putting these on the CD. So with this one, with the Pentagram here, it's a compilation. So the look in here, the information's already in this booklet here. I mean, a nice layout. I mean, it's DIY, but it fits for what he was trying to go for with some of this. So this, again, just to read from here, this is not a complete live show. This is a collection of live tracks recorded between 1983, the height of the Death Row era, and 1993, shortly before the Be Forewarned album was released. So basically that's kind of the gist of what you get here. So it's basically, again, combining a lot of audience live recordings from the period between 1983 and 1993. And again, the recording quality, I mean, it varies between, it's not, for audience recordings, I think it's definitely decent sounding. It's actually very listenable. But as far as when it comes to really good, like more audiophile listening, it is what it is. Again, this is more so geared towards diehard fans. So that's different. And again, it's a very fun, it's a very enjoyable live disc to listen to anyways. It's very enjoyable. There's actually some songs on here that I don't think were ever properly recorded in a studio or for any of the studio albums, which is actually something. Of course, there's some killer live versions, of course, as far as the playing. Carol live playings of like In a Ram's Head and so on. So there's actually some good. As far as again, the Pentagram just sounds tight on these songs. Obviously, this period of Pentagram from 1983 to at least the Reformation years past the 1970s, you could tell that before the whole self-titled debut album, with just obviously you could tell that this is just again the whole band at their finest hour basically. And of course there's a cool live shot right there, the guys with Victor Griffin and Liebling, I forgot his first name, but just great stuff. And so there, same thing. I can say the same thing for the Metallica one here. This one's interesting. This one, of course, is being titled Iron Fist and the Hordes from Hell, live at Ruthie's End, San Francisco, 8/24/85. So I guess August, I believe, August of 1985. What's interesting about this one? I mean, it's an audience recording. I think this is probably what's at least left. The only thing that at least is left of this recording is only an audience. As far as documentation, at least recorded documentation, because this is the infamous show where Metallica was billed as the Four Horsemen. The only show they were ever billed under a different name. Probably, I think it has something to do with maybe the promoters, whatever. I forgot the whole story of why they had to do this, why they decided to go under the name for at least one show and for one night. But it's a very cool documentation. It's not the perfect recording, but it's a very cool look into probably one of the most interesting anomalies probably in Metallica's year, basically at this point. This again is just right before Master of Puppets, so it's still around Ride the Lightning on here. And with this release, you can tell, obviously, there's probably some reasons why maybe, apparently according on this recording, James Hetfield will apparently states towards, I think, the end of this, that they obviously were properly recording this. Apparently, they who knows, it might have been a joke on James Hetfield's end, but they were supposed to have actually properly released this. It was supposed to be a live album, I guess. I don't know. But obviously, with the band, how they are playing on here, which is not this is probably Metallica not at their finest moment. They definitely, there's some fuck-ups all over here. There is definitely plenty of, a lot of funny bantering. There is definitely some funny stage bantering. There's also, again, this also has probably one of the most longest guitar tunings in the history of live recordings. It seems like, again, it seems like during towards the middle of, like, what was it, Ride the Lightning, and before going into For Whom the Bell Tolls. I think it might have been after Creeping Death that both either Cliff Burton and Kirk Hammett apparently are tightening up their strings, and it takes almost a few, almost seems like 2 minutes or 3 minutes. It really is pretty fucking long, it feels like. And obviously, I think James Hetfield is trying his best to actually at least entertain the crowd while they're doing so. And it's interesting. Again, it's sloppy in places. This is probably, again, not Metallica's finest moments. It's probably one of the reasons why Lars, if he has the actual soundboard, because again, this is a audience recording. If he's got the soundboard, it's probably going to be left in his vaults until the day he dies, because I don't think that this will ever be properly or officially reissued on any format. I don't think it will ever be, even in digital format. I think this is probably one of those I think Lars is probably going to keep to himself. But it's a cool listen, but again, it's only for novelty. It's only one that just, again, for historical purposes. It's not really for, you know, major listenings. But it's one, again, it's more geared towards diehard fans of Metallica, and one of those who are curious about the one night where they were billed as the Four Horsemen and not as Metallica. So, it's definitely interesting. Moving on, the third one here is the San Antonio Slayer, which again, it's titled Burning Up the Witch House, live in San Antonio, 11/30, 1984, so basically November 30th, 1984. This one's interesting. I used to have this, I still have the original downloaded version of this. I once downloaded this a long time ago, but it was a part of a vinyl split. It was, again, it was only unofficially released, but this is the one show where the San Antonio Slayer actually played with the LA Slayer, the actual Slayer, because again, both San Antonio Slayer here was also titled Slayer, and this is the one show where they actually played with each other. So I only have San Antonio Slayer's part this time on a CD. I don't have. I wish. I don't know. Does again, if you're watching this, do you also have Slayer's portion from this show? Because I would like to also have that that as well on finally in a physical format. But this is the one time where San Antonio Slayer actually played with the Slayer. I might have mentioned this in one of my reviews of their releases. I actually might have when I did US Power Month back in 2016. So it's just really nice to finally have this stuff. Again, it sounds great. I mean, compared to this is a real soundboard recording, but it's still very raw. But it's still, I would say this is probably more listenable compared to the Metallica and the Pentagram here. But still very cool. Again, obviously, they definitely sound tight right here. It's definitely something that labels like Metal Blade or Roadrunner and so on didn't really pick up San Antonio Slayer and made something that was Hell Combat. I'm surprised they never did. But who knows? Probably because of the fact they were called Slayer, and since Metal Blade already had, well, the other Slayer, the one again, Show No Mercy, Hell Awaits, the one, and Kerry King, yada yada yada. So that's probably a reason why I kept them from ever getting properly signed, because of, well, they were called Slayer too. So that's probably, I think, one of the setbacks. But this is, I think, is a great band. Again, the Prepare to Die EP and Go for the Throat album are all great. I know those have been reissued several times. I know Skull Records has, but apparently they just don't seem to stay in print. But this is still very cool. Again, see if I can show anything else off. So, all cool. So there you go. Last up here is the Exodus one. This, again, it's titled Poser Slaughter Incorporated. This right here is actually pretty cool because it's a 2 CD. The first disc basically compiles the Turk Street demo and their very first demo, which is the only recordings with Kirk Hammett in Exodus, whereas the second disc is basically one of, I believe it is one of the final shows with Paul Bailoff in Exodus before he was kicked out and replaced with Steve Zetro. Fuck, I forgot already. Yeah, before it was Steve, the guy that, again, Pleasure to Kill, no, Pleasure to the Flesh. Pleasure to Kill is a Creator album. Fuck up there. Still, the funny thing is, again, between these, I think this one has more playback quality in many ways when it comes to these discs, because again, the first disc is the Turk Street demo, and probably for a rehearsal. Apparently, it also gets billed as a rehearsal. It was like, it basically laid the foundation for the Bonded by Blood album. But it sounds fantastic for a rehearsal demo. It sounds absolutely pretty good for recording quality and production. It's actually a very high quality recording. The only problem with it is that not every, there's only a few songs on the Turk Street demo that have vocals. The rest of it was all instrumental. And I think there's at least 1 or 2 songs on that demo, on the Turk Street demo, that never got properly re-recorded for about, I think one of them, was on the re-recorded version of Bonded by Blood with Rob Dukes. It's the only time I think one of the songs from the Turk Street demo that never made it through Bonded by Blood got recorded, but I would have preferred if it was at least one of those songs recorded with either Paul Bailoff or Steve Zetro. So I wished it kind of did instead of Rob Dukes. I'm not a fan of Rob Dukes. I'm just not a fan. But again, this is very cool. There's actually on the second disc again being the audience recording. Very cool. Exodus actually sounds pretty fucking tight up there with Paul Bailoff. He actually sounds pretty fucking good. That's actually a very good live show. I just wish there wasn't much of an audience recording and actually a full-on soundboard recording, because obviously the energy from Exodus on the live show here, they just sound fantastic. And there's actually one of the few times with actually Paul Bailoff actually singing the song Pleasures of the Flesh. So it's really cool to hear a version with Pleasures of the Flesh with Paul Bailoff singing. So it's really cool. Still, this is probably, I think, my favorite, one of my absolute favorites of some of these so far that I've listened to, that was sent to me from the guy that runs again, Eternal Darkness Creations and Obscurations in the Witch House. So these are very cool. So here's a very nice. So finally was able to listen to all of these. Okay, since I've bantered a bit about that, let's definitely get into some stuff that has made it into my collection here. First up, I don't have to talk too much about it. I've already done a review on this. Actually, most of these I've done reviews already on these, but this is the new Blue Oyster Cult with The Symbol Remains. A great album. I definitely love this new Blue Oyster Cult album. I think it's fantastic, so I don't have to talk too much. So The Symbol Remains. The other one I've been playing a shit ton a lot, and already everyone is, including their mother and their sister, basically are talking about this new album on YouTube. But I know I'm just sarcastically saying that, but the new AC/DC, Power Up. I mean, I love this new album. I absolutely love it. I think this was for sure one of AC/DC's better albums they have released, one of their better albums they have released in a long time. It's just absolutely fun to listen to. There's just nothing bad I can say about this one. Again, I've done a review already on it, so I don't have to really talk too much. So, Power Up from AC/DC. And this is another one, again, this is probably one of the more recent ones in my collection so far right now. And I've done a review on this one already too. That's the new Sodom with Genesis 19. And this is a great album. I love this new Sodom too. Just Sodom being Sodom basically, but more violent sounding. They just sound brutal, they sound great. This is definitely some of Sodom's finest material in a long time. Also, funny enough, I do have also a Sodom release that, again, the guy that runs this label there had sent me, and I've yet to get to that, but eventually I will. And I know I'll probably enjoy that one too. So, there you go. There's Sodom there. And finally, I have yet to listen to this one, but I'm saving my thoughts for this one until I actually do a review on this one, but I've yet to even listen to it. So, but this was given to me straight from my brother. But this is the new Mr. Bungle, which is, yeah, the Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny demo. And everyone's, apparently who I've at least friends with, or at least know on forums, are definitely praising this album. And what I've, at least the snippets I've heard of this, sounds great. Now, this is a band I normally was never much into. I know my brother was. The thing is, my brother was the one that was really hugely into Mr. Bungle. But the thing is, the only thing I really knew about was that it was Mike Patton, the singer for, of course, Faith No More. But they were just mostly experimental. But I had heard about the Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny demo. I had heard about that because that was the first thing they had released. It was 1986, and it was like what their sole metal release in their discography, because they were more of a very experimental band. They did a lot of different shit basically in their. They weren't really a full-on metal band. But this right here was basically them trying to get back to basically re-recording that whole demo, basically. But again, it's basically freshening up a lot of that sound. And on board here, who is Dave Lombardo and Scott Ian. Dave Lombardo being former Slayer member and Scott Ian of Anthrax. So what we got here is basically, apparently, is just Mr. Bungle being back to being more of a thrash metal band, and that's what sold me on wanting to really check this one out. So I can't wait to really spin this one. So there you go. there is my collection update. If you have any thoughts on all these releases here that I've shown in this video, let me know. And again, you can leave those thoughts in the comment section below. But if you haven't, again, I think there's some ones here that I think are definitely worth checking out. So with that, I hope you all enjoyed this Every Thrash. I'll say I'm out, and I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.